Hello and welcome everybody to the SARG Superspeedway series here on the Flatout Racing Network. It is round one of the playoffs, race 9 on the season in the SARG Superspeedway series. Tyler Riggs and Michael Norman with you here tonight on the call. Michael, first race of the playoffs, first race of the chase, Daytona '08. Couldn't be any better of a kind of crazy wild card track to get this playoffs underway.
Absolutely. It's going to be incredible to watch these drivers go around near 200 miles an hour. Some new updates out, and this drafting package are going to make these cars a little more unpredictable. Add that with a very, very bumpy racetrack here at the Daytona '08 setting, and it's going to make for some good, exciting racing tonight here in the Sunwest Construction 200.
Absolutely. 80 laps on the docket for this Sunwest Construction 200, like you mentioned. Of course, stage going to be the completion of 41 or completion of 4, excuse me. And of course, if we get a caution within the first couple laps to that, that will be your stage as well. And as usual, we'll try to drag up the stage winner. And as we mentioned, it is the first round of the playoffs. So your playoff drivers should be highlighted with special kind of blue banners going on their cars, designate that there that should show them. But just in case you didn't know, it is Lucas Graham leading the playoffs going into this by 8 points over Nick Olson. Then you got Brady Floyd and Brandon Houff tied for third at 9 behind Lucas Graham. You got Steve Miguel comes in as the fifth seed, if you will, 12 points behind your leader, Lucas Graham. Then Sean Howell, who is not going to be here tonight, he's the sixth seed. He will get a provisional last place points in this round. And then you'll get Kyle Major in the 25. He's the 7th seed. Robbie Lyons back there, number 15. He's the 8th seed. Lucas Strait is the 9th seed. Clint Spillman is the 10th seed. Jacob McMillan is the 11th seed. And finally, Gavin Jones rounds out your playoff drivers as the 12th seed. So they are getting pace in here. Underway on the pole today, it was Lucas Graham getting it done with a very, very solid lap of a 47.816, just beating out Brandon Houff, who had the pole here earlier in the year. Houff putting down a 47.826, so 1/100th difference right there, nice and tight. Nick Olson started third. He was only 3/1000ths off of Brandon Houff with an 8.29 in the 47s, so very tight there. Then goes Dylan Holland, Britt Murphy, Ben McDonald, Alex Fox, Robbie Lyon, Matthew Oliveira, and finally Quinn Gingrich rounds out your top 10 here today for the start. Looks like we got about 27 cars on grid for this one, Michael. A nice full field for this first playoff race. We mentioned, obviously, the different package. Everybody's adjusting. Talked to Lucas Cram a little bit earlier before we got going, and he thinks we're in for a pretty fun night of racing, dealing with all the bumps and watching how guys try to maneuver around that. Feels that maybe, Michael, more of an upper lane advantage here tonight at Daytona '08.
Absolutely. It's less bumpy in the middle to high lane, and that would that along with the way these cars can draft. If you get enough cars up there on the outside lane, it can really take off here. And I'm looking forward to seeing it, and we'll see how many drivers decide to use that this early. As we're on the front straightaway, the pace car ducks in. Lucas Cram going to lead him. The green flag is out, and we're underway here at Daytona.
And a good push early on there from Nick Olson behind Mr. Cram, sucked right up to him, trying to give him slingshot into turn one there. But on the outside, you got House, you got Dylan Holland as well in that 5. All those Brit guys up there, Michael, trying to get it going early here. You see Britt Murphy at 64 as well, trying to work his way up there and get some things done. Alex Fox as well at 29 is going to be a fast one to watch out for here tonight. And early on here, guys, sort themselves out, Michael. It's not too bad, it looks like, out there in terms of control. It's track temp a little hot out there, about 104. So we'll see how that plays out with this being more in the daytime. Oh, we see the 48 Quinn Gingrich back there kind of bobble it up, Michael. Now, with all these bumps, and we've seen these guys at this track before, it was crazy the first time around here. It seemed really like off of turn 4, off of turn 2 was getting a lot of people. Do you think that's changed much, or is it even more hectic, you think?
Well, we haven't seen it much now. These drivers are still on fresher tires. The one thing we are seeing is the outside lane really come into play here, like we talked about. Nick Olson's going to take the lead on the outside lane there with help behind him. Now, what's really going to come into play here as we think about how bumpy and how loose these cars can get is when they start getting onto older tires. Daytona '08 was known to be a real tire eater, and it was all about handling. So it's going to see if, there's not really a right way to save tires here. Maybe there would be to maybe run the outside lane where there's less bumps. But, when these cars start getting on older tires, that's when we're really going to see how well these cars are and how they react to being in packs like this. As we do have a bit of a breakaway here. We've got a main pack and then about 16th on back. 16th, 17th on back is where we have a bit of a breakaway.
Yeah, and an interesting separation like you're talking about there. It's about Lucas, between Lucas Strader and James DeCarlos. DeCarlos leading that second pack in 17th. Strader, last car on the tail end of that first group. Now, the playoff drivers back here, Michael, are Gavin Jones, Jacob McMillan. Also got Brady Floyd way back here as well, kind of riding around. These guys are a little bit deeper in those point standings with the exception of Floyd, who's within 10. I mean, what do you think of this approach early on to try to kind of wait out back there and fill things out?
Well, that they want, as you see them actually get single file, that's smart. They should be able to reel in that front pack now that are racing. But, you want to be in the back because you don't want to get caught up in a wreck. These drivers get one fast repair. That's it. That's all they're allowed. One fast repair. You don't want to use it already and then get caught up in another wreck. But what I don't think they planned for was to actually kind of fall this far back behind. So now they're going to have to try to work together to catch this front pack back up, and then just kind of stay in the back and make your move when you need to.
Right, I see you're saying it kind of took them by surprise a little bit that they fell back so far early on. But up front, Michael, it's those grit guys getting it done right now. Lucas Graham, Brandon House, Dylan Holland, all 1, 2, 3, and they're all controlling that outside lane. This is not surprising. Nick Olson dropped to that bottom after he got pushed up there, and it turned out to be the wrong move, it looks like, Michael, because he got shuffled back to about, looks like battling for about maybe 5th or 6th, somewhere in there. So interesting to see how that plays out. Now you see him break that top lane a little bit as Brandon House will get down there. Graham maybe a little loose, almost came down into Hoff in that 44, but he'll stay on the top lane, pushed by that 5 of Dylan Holland, and this is just...
Oh, boy.
A little squirrely, yeah, still looks like up there. But it seems like that top line is definitely, as we thought, going to be the dominant line here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to wait and see where the rest of these cars are as they cross the start-finish line. And they're not really gaining all that much, a couple of tenths. But the way these front pack is racing up here, they should catch them pretty fast. Especially with how loose they are. Now, I've driven at this racetrack in the other different types of cars here, and I'll tell you, even on the outside lane, you do not want to just kind of turn your steering wheel all that much because your car, when hitting the bumps, will just start sliding, and that's what we saw earlier with him getting loose like that.
Yeah, and now with this new kind of top lane being the dominant lane, it's even more precarious up there, I imagine, in that cockpit trying to, like you're talking about, balance out, hey, how much do I really try to steer this in, or, how much do I try to fight the bumps, if you will. And did ask Lucas earlier if it was going to be more of a, rodeo trying to deal with those rather than a race. You got to chuckle out of that one. And, they're fighting in there, folks. I mean, it is not easy riding around here at Daytona in this 08 configuration. I mean, you're constantly going at it.
Yeah, let's ride in the cockpit camera of the guy at second place, Dylan Holland. Just look at how he has to work the steering wheel into these corners. It's just how bumpy this racetrack is. It almost reminds you a bit of California Auto Club Speedway, just how bumpy that track is. And with this one being the same, mostly in the corners. But just see the way he works the steering wheel here as he heads off into turn 1. As he heads off into turn 1 right here, watch him just had to crank that steering wheel just a little bit every now and then, because of the bumps here. And if he was on a low lane, the bumps would be even worse.
Oh, absolutely, Michael. Now, while you're on board right there, Clint Spillman got a little loose back about 5th or so, and he had to drop down to that bottom line, drop quite a few spots. He not quite sure if he got a bit of a wrong bump or well, they're crashing back here. It's Brandon House, a couple others caught up, and that's a big one early on. Cautions out here.
Oh my lord, that is a huge one. Quinn Gingrich involved.
Robbie Lyons, I see. Nick Olson. That was a better part of the back half of the field. Stephen Gale. A lot of the higher seeds here in the playoffs. with how
Gavin
familiar
Jones
that.
might have had a piece of it, maybe. I don't really see any damage on his car.
Had probably.
Clint Spillman might have been a part of that as well. So that was a very tough break for him.
Yeah, he was just dropping back like we were talking about. Oh, Michael going into turn 3. It looks like there's a little bit of a miscommunication here. Once we go back and see it, you'll see what I'm talking about. And that's just one of those unfortunate ones there. And oh my, yeah, that was a big one. I don't see how anybody gets through that unless you just dive it through the grass and really hope you get through there. Caution here out on
Oh,
lap
yep.
8.
You could see that there. It was just one. He was. I'm not sure who exactly it was. I think it was maybe Quinn Gingrich. He was looking to go low, and then he decided at the last minute, okay, I'll go back up, and he wasn't clear back up, and he just kind of clipped the.
Should have been the 95 there. Christopher Lewis is who he unfortunately clipped. Like you're talking about, yeah. I mean, just looks like they had a run, and Gingrich thought he could get low, decided against it, but it was too late. That hesitation, Michael, we talk about it all the time. All it takes is that one slight, either hesitation or a little bit of a, too aggressive a bump. Just small things lead to these big wrecks, and early on, that's going to be a lot of guys, better part of the back half of that field, having to burn a fast repair, most likely, and that's huge. I mean, Robbie Lyons missing our front end. He's probably going to have to burn his. I mean, a lot of guys that in the playoffs didn't want to have to be in this situation early, Michael. This is a tough break.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not what they wanted. Pit stops already early on. We didn't even know how far these drivers could make it on fuel, and they're already making pit stops here. So we'll have to wait and see. We got to remember we had the stage break at lap 40, so I don't necessarily think that this could pull it to the end for the end of the stage for them, but it might make them just that much closer.
Yeah, it would still probably be a bit of a stretch to make it. Usually with these cars, the way they run their fuel, folks, as we mention every week, kind of about 20, 25 laps, somewhere in there is your fuel run. And, Michael, with how bumpy this track is and how much you're having to fight, I don't know how much saving you could really do at Daytona 08. I mean, I imagine that's pretty tough.
Yeah, well, you save more being behind somebody than you would if you were leading the pack, so being the leader here probably isn't the best idea, as much as these drivers want to lead laps.
Yeah, they want to get in front of that 44, Lucas Cram, the man who is the leader in the clubhouse in those points. They do not want to give him chances at any extra bonuses in this race, there's no doubt. Because
Another
as we
thing
know,
too,
folks,
There's another thing too when we looked at the point standings. Yeah, some of those drivers were back by 20 points or plus, but you can really make up a lot of those points with where you finish in the stage. If you finish in the top 10, the higher you finish in the stage, the more points you have the opportunity to gain. And to do that, you have to shuffle Lucas Cram out of the top 10.
well, Michael, to that point that I kind of noticed versus last season with the trucks, it seems like all the way back to 12th, this playoff grid is a lot tighter than what it was last season. Really, by the time we got to the chase, the 4 races, there's guys that had built up enough points that, really it was about 4 or 5 guys that had a legitimate shot at the championship. And then after that, some of those guys needed a lot of things to go right to even have a shot after the first race or two. It seems like truly, with how tight they are right now, it's anybody's game. I mean, Gavin Jones, who's come into this as the 12th seed, he's only 22 points back. Lucas Cram, like you said, all it takes is some bad luck from Cram or some of those other upper guys and a good stage finish from Jones or a good finish, and he's right there. I mean, this could get real hectic, folks. Daytona 08, especially here, is going to be kind of a tone setter for the rest of this playoffs. I mean, some of these guys are going to have finishes that they did not want to have tonight, and it'll be interesting to see who kind of gets those breaks, who doesn't. It
But we're
looks
going to
like
also see a lot of these drivers a lot of the playoff drivers more towards the back, the ones that were involved in this wreck, because they had to have used their only fast repair now, so they've got to take it easy. So that's going to be weighing in the back of their minds as well. As we are double file, pace car lights are out, and looks like we are going to be going back green this time by.
Yeah, I got a lot of guys trying to catch up. You mentioned pretty much everybody having to use their fast repair. One guy I noticed that didn't, that was involved in that wreck, is Stephen Gale. He's going to be really slow, but it looks like he's trying to keep that fast repair in his back pocket. That'll be something to watch out for.
Yeah,
So get ready.
that might hurt him more than help him at this point if they keep lapping him and they get the long green flag run. Green flag is back out. We are back underway here at Daytona. And I wonder if Brett Murphy was able to get caught up there.
There's a few guys that weren't quite caught up, so we'll have to monitor that for sure. But still, Lucas Graham at that 44 right now. Him and the 5 of Dylan Holland working really well early on in this race, Michael, together. Holland seems to be really content to just kind of sit there, ride, push, whoever he needs to do to help Lucas Graham right now maintain up front. And we'll see if anybody's got any sauce for him. A guy that's one to watch is definitely at 29 of Alex Fox. Not in the playoffs, but he's usually a fast driver when he does race in this league. This season was a bit more spotty, I'm sure, due to various reasons. But when he shows up, he is definitely one to watch for in terms of trying to nab a win from Lucas Graham. But other than that, Michael, look at these two of Graham and Holland really get out here in front right now.
Yeah, with enough draft and enough push, you can break away for a short time against the rest of the pack, but then the rest of the pack just chases you down immediately. And that's what you could see happening here. And it's going to be great, as you said, with Lucas leading, playoff driver leading, as he's trying to get maximum points now he can. With this being the chase, there's no reset in this chase. It's from this race to the last race, whatever points you accumulate. And right now, he's doing the best to try to accumulate maximum points.
Well, and he senses an opportunity. Just to highlight, folks, Graham, the points leader coming into this chase, is currently P1. He's leading laps. He's getting bonus points. The next closest playoff driver right now, because of that incident, is Clint Spillman back in 9th. So
what's Robbie Lyons back in 9th now?
Yeah, Robbie Lyons, yeah. So to that point, Michael, these guys, if they're barely finishing in the top 10 for the stage, while you got Lucas winning the stage and collecting some extra points there, that's huge. I mean, that is a big discrepancy already.
That's a potential to be 9 extra points if Lucas wins and the next playoff driver finishes 9th or even 10th. So it's 8. Right now, it'd be 8 points gained on Lucas, and that's just before the checkered flag in this race, too. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that, as the cars have gotten single file now here at the front. You don't really see a lot of passes right now. As you can see, cars trying to stick their nose out to get some fresh air, maybe cool off the engines. Cars running hot a little bit. We know how tricky the setups are in terms of overheating.
Yeah, and Kobe Wills right there in that 45 just about lost to him, and Derek Stanley at 26, right? 3rd and 4th almost had a big collision. They saved it though. Good job by those guys. And Michael, on that overheating issue, it seems like there's a little bit of work done on this update to where you could push a bit more, get more out of these cars for whatever reason. I think it was a tape issue, if I remember Lucas talking about it correctly. So probably won't see some of these guys blow up as early as we did earlier in the season, where it seemed like we had a guy blow up 10 laps into the race, a couple races in a row there. And it looks like they're starting to pick it up a little bit there on the back half of the field. I'm surprised, Michael, nobody's really committed that outside after we saw it be so strong in the first few laps of this race.
Yeah, and that's actually very surprising to see these drivers just training on the inside. And then, of course, right as we say that, here comes a line on the back straightaway. It all comes down to the run you get off the corner. You can ride behind somebody and, tap the brakes, hold on to the... Oh, my gosh, that was close.
And it was, my goodness.
Yeah. Colby Wells really wanted the second place there, and that was almost a disaster. But it all comes down to the run you get. You can ride around, drag the brake a little bit, just ride behind somebody, but then, there's a time where you get such a big run with somebody behind you that you have no choice but to take the run, because if you tap the brakes to slow down, you're going to get run over from behind.
And we've already seen that a couple times, as highlighted just a second ago there with Wells and Holland. Now Holland's got a little bit of that rear end damage. It shouldn't affect him, I'd imagine, because the spoiler's not really bent up. But, boy, that could get interesting, Michael, and something to watch kind of as we get closer to the race of how these guys are going to make those late race moves, if you will. And how about the 12 of Gavin Jones up there in P about 4 right now? We mentioned him being one of those guys that's kind of lagging back before that first incident, and he's found his way up here trying to take advantage of some stage points. And to the inside of him, you got Robbie Lyons at 15. Maybe he didn't use the full fast repair, but repaired a lot of damage and still seems to be on pace.
Yeah, He's right up there. He's battling for the spot there, but he's might just kind of
Oh,
try to settle in there. Robbie Lyons falling back a little bit. Clint Spillman trying to get back up towards the front here now. And they're just 3 wide behind him all the way back here.
there's some looseness going on there. Ben McDonald and Robbie Lyons almost got into it. A little bit of contact. They all kind of saved it, but caused a bit of a close moment there where everybody had to check up for just a second. So you're getting a little bit of that separation here between the first about 6 or so and that second group. Actually, about that first 8 or so.
Yeah, it's the first 8, yeah. And you see them. They're training the outside lane, and that's causing them to pull away from this pack. And it's amazing how something like that can happen, you know, but it's just, you got, oh my gosh, I think that was Kobe Wells again, or who was that in this lead pack? Just went from the high lane to the bottom lane in a very quick succession.
Yeah, it was Wells again. Him and Christopher Lewis back up there now. Lewis, of course, was involved in that first incident. It's the one that got the bit of a raw bump there from Quinn Gingrich, but these guys are not stable. I mean, we're seeing that, Michael. You know, you highlight that train now up front. They're starting to really gap them a little bit. It's up to 1.6 between Kobe Wells and Lucas Cram, your leader, and that's been increasing the last couple laps because they can't quite figure it out right now. Now it's 2.8, almost 3 seconds. Excuse me. My goodness.
Yep, they're trying to get single file here, and this spells disaster for some of these other playoff drivers as they're falling back. You got 3 playoff drivers in the front 7 here. You got Lucas Krim that's leading, Gavin Jones who's now in P4, and Clint Spillman at the caboose of that train in P7 right now. So, and with about 20 laps left in the stage, we're, I want to say, expecting these cars to be on pit road in about, I want to say, roughly 10 laps.
Well, caution was at about lap 8 or so, so by the time everybody pitted and got that full fuel, I think you're about right on the money there with that estimate. It's going to be curious to see how that works out, Michael, because this gap just keeps increasing up to almost 4 seconds now between those first 7 is what it is, and the back 8th onward. That is just massive. I mean, it's not enough time either for that second group to really pit and then try to make that up by good drafting. But, folks, we are learning a lot about the power of the outside line right now with what this lead pack is doing. It's pretty impressive, Mike.
Yeah, it is. It's impressive that these cars can stay out there. And now the only strategy I can think of for that back pack to be able to catch up to the drivers up here, as it's now about 4 seconds and growing, is they have to take fuel only on the stop. Fuel only and just enough fuel to make it to the end of the stage.
I think you're right. That's the
only way that these drivers, I think, are going to be able to stay up there and even have a contention to be in contention to get anything. As you see them lapping, who was it that they just put a lap down? I think that was Stephen Gale. So staying out and not using that fast repair really hurting them a little more than it is helping.
Well, the good news for Gale, though, is, Michael, he is the first car a lap down right now. So the thing he'll have to watch is that Brett Murphy in the 64 is doing something very similar to him, where he stayed out with some of that damage, and he is on track right now to maybe get swooped up as well by those leaders. So that'd be not what Stephen Gale wants to see, obviously, but Gale, one of the playoff drivers, trying to save that fast repair in his back pocket. It's always an interesting call with that, Michael. I mean, we know, we've seen it kind of work both ways for those guys. Yeah, it works out for Gale, and the battle to watch is in this second pack now. As we mentioned, 8th on back. They're up to 5 seconds back now. It's crazy, but you've got a good number of playoff drivers. You got Lucas Strayer, who's leading the pack. You got Robbie Lyons as well, Brandon House, Kyle Manger, Jacob McMillan, Brady Floyd, Nick Olson, all in this pack, all playoff drivers. And with it being 8 on back, Michael, there's only 3 spots available to get stage points. How crazy do you think that battle's going to get as we get to the end of the stage, with some of those guys realizing, hey, we might not catch that lead pack, so I got to secure at least the stage point.
Well, you also got to remember, too, it's all going to come down to pit stops as well. Now, Tyler, you have access to the radio chat for these drivers, and do you hear anybody in the second pack talking about how they're going to find a way to catch that front pack? Do you hear the drivers chatting at all?
I see it popping up, but unfortunately, for some reason, I cannot hear them. So usually I can. I don't know what's going on there. So it's kind of
they've gapped about half a straightaway. This second pack has indeed gotten single file for the most part, and there's more cars in it, so I guess we'll see this time by if the gap is indeed closing or only getting worse, as right now it's about 6.05, maybe running about 6 seconds flat. We'll see what it's like when they come across the line this time.
Yeah, I just don't see that coming down anytime soon. Like you're saying, it just keeps growing and keeps growing. So at this point, you realize you're on your
It didn't
own.
really change. Yeah, I'd say it didn't really change that much. It still stayed about 6 seconds. So I think this is exactly what Lucas needed. Lucas has the power horse underneath his the powerhouse. I said horse. Powerhouse under his engine to lead this group of 7 cars and to be quick about it too. You know, he's probably coaching them, saying, "Stay in line, guys. Let's stay in line. Let's get to these pit stops and then fight it out."
Yeah, well, and the big gainer in this too, Michael, has got to be Gavin Jones at 12. I mean, he is the last seed in the playoffs, 22 points back of Cram, and this is probably one of the better scenarios to get him into this really as a contender, you know, for this championship. To be right up there, matching what Cram is doing, having all these other guys kind of struggle a little bit back there right now, having to kind of ride around with some of those stage points, with the exception of Clint Spillman and that 88 who's tagged along at the end of this pack as well. So
big update here.
Advantage.
Big update here. Brandon Houff is now 1 lap down and in lucky dog position.
He had a little bit of damage too. I believe he's saving his fast repair. So that is not the news that Stephen Gale wanted to see. But like we talked about, and now Brett Murphy in the 64 also going a lap down, so or getting ready to go a lap down. So that's big time bad news for Houff.
Well,
and
we'll see
Gale right
if
there.
who was somebody else that's come off of pit road too.
That'd be the 24 Nick Olson. That's all what it look like.
It also is change of strategy here. That could be interesting too. These cars have to come down the pit. These guys can drive around, hopefully get their lap back. You know, with this, and cycle around, maybe as a good shot at being in the top 10. But that puts 4 cars now 1 lap down out of the 27 that have started this race. No one's out yet, so that's a good sign as well. We have no drivers behind the wall, and they're all still pretty much running, albeit whether they're on pit road or not. As I think we have 2 cars on pit road right now.
Hearing from Mr. Spellman as I've got my audio issues fixed that he's starting to get pretty tight back there in the pack. He's saying these things are really starting to tighten up, Michael. So you mentioned tires a little bit earlier, in that Daytona 08. It's kind of a little bit more notorious for those super speedways to be, you know, an issue for that. With them running the high line, things getting tight. You know, these guys are going to have to start maybe moving it down a little bit and can't, you know, run up right near that wall.
Yeah, more than likely. We're going to go back and look. As you see, Stephen Gale coming off pit road. Looks like he now has fully repaired that race car. And he is now, unfortunately, 2 laps down. And we'll have to see. Hopefully there's enough cautions that he's not involved in that can help him get back onto the lead lap. We've seen it happen before, Tyler, so it's possible.
Oh, it definitely is, Michael. No doubt about it. I mean, all it takes is the right lucky breaks. I mean, Nick Olson last week, I believe, had a similar thing where he came back from some laps down, multiple laps down, and got the caution breaks he needed to get himself back in. So these guys are definitely, you know, realizing that, hey, it's not done yet, but it's going to take a lot of help, no doubt.
You'd think that some of them would want to stay out maybe for a wave around, but you also got to remember, too, that these cars are short pitting in a way that they'll make it just to the end of the stage. So if they're trapped the lap down, they're hoping that they could get around the leaders in enough time that they can get back onto the lead lap by the time the caution comes out. But what would really be drastic for them, and what they don't want, is a caution coming out, because that would trap them 1 lap down and only give one of them a free pass.
Absolutely. We're seeing some more solo pits, as you see that 57 of Matthew Oliveira has been coming off pit road. He had some damage as well, hadn't used his fast repair, so. Oh, we're hearing for Houff, Michael, that his issue was due to some connection issues. That's why he got trapped a lap down. Not because he was slow, but because of some connection issues. So that's interesting right there. And we'll see if he gets that ruling kind of in his favor or not at the stage break, as we are getting closer to it, coming to 10 to go to the stage this time by. And we imagine probably this lead pack and the pack behind it getting ready to eyeball some of those pit stops. We'll see how deep they take it into the run.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, they went back green on lap 11, and we are now on lap 31. That's 20 laps from the restart here. These lead pack, and give or take the caution laps, we could probably see any of these cars in pit road within the next 5 laps.
Very possible. Obviously, be listening to that radio chatter to see if we're gonna catch some of those guys trying to pit. Oh, hearing about the 41 coming in this time. So the second pack looks like they're getting ready to dive it in, at least some of them. See how they handle this, Mike.
Yep, I'm gonna look back here at now the 41 coming in. He's coming in, looks like all by himself.
Oh, wow. He got faked out right there. There's some chatter. Oh, nope. He'll have the couple guys, Brady Floyd, back there behind him as well. So they got a couple guys. 21 of Jacob McMillan's about a 3-car group there. Here, Clint Spillman's coming in this time. So some of these lead pack guys.
Ooh, one of them, I think it might have been the 41, actually kind of overshot his pit stall a little bit. That's going to cost him some time.
Yeah, and especially in a spot where he could not afford to give any of that time being back to the second pack. And it looks like some of this front pack getting ready to pit. Here they come. Lucas Graham coming down. It looks like everybody in this front pack coming down.
Oh, my Lord.
Out.
It's 3 wide trying to come in the pit
get
road.
In tight. 39 of the Careless squeezes in there. Hits the cone. Probably won't be a penalty. So the 3 wide.
No, but the poor cone, man. What did the cone ever do to him?
I know. Cone's always the victim.
We're going to hear that on Twitter later.
Looks like for the most part, they're all in pretty clean. Cram got in a nice tight stop right there. Dylan Holland as well in that 5.
Looks like Kyle Manger and Michael Elliott stayed out.
25 and 8 to your point. Manger, of course, one of the playoff drivers, one of the grit guys as well, but was kind of caught in an awkward spot being that second pack. So they're going to have a very... Now, see, Michael, with this, with only being a 2-car group, you kind of push yourself a little bit harder into pit road. You can ride more of a fine line than with an 8-car group. Is that maybe going to be an advantage for these guys here this time?
We're going to have to wait and see how when it fully cycle around. I see 7 cars here in this pack. I don't see the 8th car. I'll have to wait and see who that was. That was just right through. Is that Alex Fox? No, that's the 9 of Brandon Houff, who's 2 laps down right now, trying to get ahead to get one of his 2 laps back the hard way for when the caution comes out, and maybe we can see him take like a wave around if he's in front of all the leaders.
Well, not only that, to remember, as we mentioned, the only reason he was a lap down in the first place is with some connection issues, so could be like you said, trying to get back that 1 lap the hard way. That way he could actually get back 2 full laps, so to speak. And now the 25 and the 8 coming in this time. Major and Elliott looks like they got him pretty clean.
The leaders are on the back straightaway. If they make quick pit stops, they might be able to cycle and stay a part of this pack here.
Looks like Cram and Holland and Fox and Houff all using that bottom line. Cycle around right there. Let's see, Michael. It's going to be close.
25
out of his pit stall.
Yep, 25 gets out of his pit stall.
Oh, he's going to be way far behind. There goes Cram in that group.
I thought maybe he had a little bit more time than I originally thought here. Now this 7-car pack has only come down to a 4-car pack here, with Gavin Jones just tagging along on the tail end.
Well, you got Jones, Spillman, and Dagger right there back behind this 4-car group. They're trying to catch up a little bit. They got a good shot. I mean, they're not super far back, Michael, but this may just be the race for your stage winners right here between, Cram, Holland, and Fox. Remember Houff in that 9, 2 laps down, so these guys could ride it out. That's what we're talking about with kind of the pitting so close to the stage. You don't have a lot of time to be able to get yourself caught back up and really try to battle. And I don't know if Gavin Jones and Clint Spillman and Dagger, can do it. I mean, they're still a good 2.4 seconds or so back.
Oh, yeah, they're 2 seconds back, and you got 4 cars up here. And the only hope for Gavin Jones at this time is, and not only that, but they're catching lapped cars also. And they're going to use them as a drafting pick to be able to just draft right around them and increase their speed even more, so that way that other pack can't catch them. So they're using this as a pick to make sure that one of these one of these 3 cars are going to be in the stage winner.
And it looks like
Got 4 laps to go in the stage.
he lost a little bit more time that time as well, Michael. Not a whole lot, but lost a little bit. Then you have to go all the way back to about 11 seconds behind the leader. That's where you see Kyle Major, Lucas Strayer, and the rest of that group. It's all kind of spaced out. Kind of awkwardly spaced out here, Michael. I don't think we predicted this in this round of pit stops.
Yeah, not at all. We know that this is, and I'm gonna say that this is a reason why when I used to do series and stuff like that, I would never put pit stops on for a restricted plate race because I feel like it takes away from the racing. It added strategy, but it makes it kind of spread out like this. And I as a personal restrictor plate fan am not too happy with spread out because I like it when all these drivers are up here. But with the stage break, that's going to bunch them all back up and going to bring in a lot more X factors for the second half of this race.
Oh, no doubt. And we'll see who is able to get wave rounds and who is it here. Is got a couple more cars. It looks like Nick Olson, Jordan Clark, Matthew Oliveira right there in the sights now. The leader Lucas Cram and co. So we'll see if they fall out down. Got a couple laps to fend off Lucas Cram that group, but now they have switched to the top side, Michael, where they've just been so proficient, especially Cram and Holland, at really leading that pack and being able to pull away from anybody else behind them that's not in that lead group. They've increased the gap between them and Gavin Jones about another 0.6 of a second, so up to about almost 4 seconds now. It is just super efficient what Cram and Holland that crew's been able to do.
Absolutely, they're approaching another 2 lap cars. I think that could be one of them. Could be Stephen Gale in the 52, and they're just trying to ride it out. They've got 2 laps coming to 1 lap left in the stage, so they're just trying to stay ahead of these leaders.
Yeah, that's going to be a very tall task because that outside line is maybe see a 39 to Careless dip down a little bit back there. He is a lap down, so he's not a factor in terms of trying to race for stage points right now. He's back, unfortunately, at about 19th or so. There's a white flag for the stage. As you said, it's Gale, it's Olson, and a third car on that bottom line about to get lapped again to 71 with Jordan Clark.
It looks like 24.
Lap. Yeah, Olson and the 24, the 52 of Gale, who are both already a lap down, and then the 71 of Clark, who is the lead lap car, getting ready to go lap down, and
Man,
a couple more cars ahead.
This is just a big X factor here. I wonder.
Gingrich and the 39 collide. The 48 goes around into the wall. Caution is out. That's going to be the stage. It's going to be Lucas Cram winning, and that is unfortunate for Quinn Gingrich. He was the first car a lap down. He was about to get the lucky dog, and he got, unfortunately, a bad bump from that 39 of James Careless.
Yeah, and it's the last lap of the stage. That tends to happen sometimes. He was riding along. It was definitely a bad bump. I'll say. I don't know if he got a little loose in the corner first. Do you think? You think he might have got just a little bit loose?
I definitely don't think it was anything intentional, obviously, from Careless. It was one of those racing situations where you're, like you said, you're pushing a little bit. It's in the stage. You're trying to make sure you keep up there. Yeah, I don't know, Michael. That one was definitely kind of awkward. It was one of those deals where it looks like Careless got sucked up right to the 48's bumper. Maybe didn't mean to necessarily get on him, but the bump was just enough to get Quinn Gingrich loose, and it was on from there, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just a tough break.
It looks like, as we mentioned, Lucas Cram getting the stage win, Dylan Holland second, Alex Fox third, playoff driver Gavin Jones fourth, Clint Spillman, our playoff driver, in fifth, Kyle Dagger in sixth there, Kyle Major in seventh, playoff driver Lucas Strayer eighth, and our playoff driver Brady Floyd and Jacob McMillan both ninth and 10th. So all but Holland, Fox, and Dagger were playoff drivers in that top 10 and got stage points. Let's see if we could get our stage winner, maybe.
Yep, I got him right here.
Hey, Lucas, it's Tyler. Michael up in the booth, yes?
Yes, sir.
Well, my goodness, man. You and Dylan Holland out there in that lead pack put a clinic on leading that top line. You kind of told us about it a little bit, pre-race and how it might be the way to go. And you guys, once you got up there and started really training, you were putting some distance on you guys in the second group.
Yeah, it's pretty wild how realistic this stuff is now. They updated last week. It's basically just red single file. Obviously, the bumps in the bottom lane kind of make it slower on the bottom lane, I think, than the outside. So wherever the runs come, you kind of just got to block it with the air. And Dylan was content with just riding there during that stage. Just wanted to at least get halfway through the race without getting involved in an incident or anything. So he was content with pushing me. So obviously that helped me a lot up front and just kind of could cruise there after pit stops, especially. So yeah, definitely. First half went a lot so far, so we'll see what happens here in the second half.
Well, and Lucas. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Michael.
just one big wreck in the first half of this race, and after that, it's been pretty single file. And say, do you think the big wreck kind of woke up a little bit of the people who were, woke up their minds a little bit, saying, "Hey, we got a long way to go. Let's just kind of mellow out here a little bit."
Yeah, that too. Obviously, it's only the second week of this update, and we got a completely different racetrack this week than we did last week. So a lot of guys are still learning and trying to figure out how things work and whatnot. So it's definitely gonna have to evolve, I would say, as the playoffs go on. And obviously, it's gonna be totally different here than everywhere else. So it's definitely a huge learning curve, and I wouldn't be surprised. Obviously, with cars getting damaged or some cars getting taken out, it's gonna make it kind of split up and harder to kind of get the bottom lane going. So I think some guys probably take the fast break here, though. Now we're in the second half, you're probably going to see a little bit more double file racing, I would assume.
Absolutely. Lucas, one final question for you, because I got to pick your brain a bit. You're usually so good at defending that bottom line and, holding the lead that way. Now with the meta kind of being the top line, how does that change how you're going to try to defend the lead a little bit? Is there a different style to it now? I mean, is it just strictly for Daytona 08 here? I mean, what do you go off of now?
Oh, it is 100% different. It's not so much about blocking with your car now. It's more blocking with the air, if that makes sense. Because the massive air bubble, you can kind of just dump the air on the guy and it kills his run out. So that's what I tried doing the last lap last week at Talladega when I tried to block the 20 there, and he had such a run though that it broke my air bubble, and he was able to get me inside and just kind of cut low. So it's been a huge learning curve for me. I never really used to block that much because it was aggressive and you could very easily cause an accident. But now it's kind of vital if you want to kind of try to stay in lead at all. So it's just kind of about dumping the air on the guy, and it's not really the same at all because it's not really car contact. It's more of just kind of slowing something down with the air.
Absolutely, Lucas. Well, thanks for the great insight. Congrats on the stage win, and maybe we'll talk to you after the race.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, hopefully.
That was stage winner Lucas Cram right there, and getting ready for this restart now. Get to about, coming to lap 44, start of lap 40 here, Michael. And I imagine things are about to really pick up here in the back half of the Sunwest Construction 200 after it was kind of a little bit more, feeling things out in the first half.
Absolutely, yeah. Go right on board with our race leader as he takes the green flag. He's got a car right behind him on his back bumper, giving him the push. And we're back underway here at Daytona for the second half.
Yeah, that's Alex Fox, that 29, giving the big push to Mr. Cram on the outside. You got Dylan Holland. He's currently pushed by the 12, Gavin Jones. And then you got Spillman in that top line as well. Also, you got Kyle Manger and Kyle Dagger down there at the bottom. Some great guys. Let's try to help out Lucas as Mr. Cram will move up to that top line. Michael took the advantage of it as the 5 couldn't quite get a big enough run, and now everybody's going to try to file themselves out and figure where they want to be.
Everybody kind of crunched back up now with that caution. We still got a bunch of cars a lap down, including a couple of 4 playoff drivers. Robbie Lyons, Nick Olson, Brandon Houff, and Stephen Gale are all a lap down. Stephen Gale's 2 laps down, and so it seems like that Brandon Houff was able to at least take a wave around to get one of his 2 laps back.
Yeah, and can confirm that Mr. Houff did get like we talked about, the lag out lap, if you will. He claimed that he had some connection issues there, so that's the lap he wound up getting waved around for, but still lost that lap on his own. And that's why he finds himself trapped a lap down in total. And Michael up front, they've already single filed out to that top lane action right now. Some guys are saying, man, if only we could make some hay on the bottom, but it's not there right now when you got such a strong top line going.
Yeah, and in order to make a move for these drivers, they're just gonna have to pull down to the middle lane and hope that they can side draft, because it seems like just the very bottom lane against the yellow line there just isn't forming, and it's just not working to their advantage.
Well, Michael, do you think that's the adjustment we're going to kind of see throughout this race? We know the side draft is a lot more prevalent now with this newer package. So do you think some of these guys are, thinking, hey, let's, like you say, kind of run more of that middle line? You see the 04 there, Brett Baldeck is being pushed by Rob. Oh, we got a caution back there in the back of the pack. Caution flag is out the third time today, the second for a non.
Oh, it's Stephen Gale.
Stephen Gale in that 52 is already 2 laps down. That is unfortunate. A couple cars may be involved, maybe the 21 Jake McMillan as well. Let's see how that one happened back there here on lap 44.
Oh, Stephen Gale, I think, wrecked, trying to avoid it.
Yeah, there's a couple cars up there, it looks like. Maybe the 16 of Ben McDonald up there as well. Here Nick Olson talk about it a little bit, so it was definitely towards the back a bit more. Oh yeah, Michael, they were 3 wide up there, or back there, I should say, between Brennan Houff, 26 is Derek Stanley. You see Ben McDonald back there in the 16 as well, going off into turn 3, and it looks like kind of some separate issues. So looks like Houff maybe got a little loose in the middle, and then McDonald made some contact on the outside wall trying to ride that top line. He took Nick Olson for a ride. They got the 84 Jacob Locklear, the 21 Jacob McMillan involved in that. A couple of guys, unfortunately, getting involved.
Yep, I finally found it. We're going to watch it right here. Just bad bumps, bad places, and right up into the wall. Now, this is going to be bad for Nick Olson. I don't know if he's already used his fast repair or not.
I believe he hadn't yet, because he was kind of riding around very slow on that last run. So he may still have one in the back pocket. If so, that'd be huge for him, to your point, because that was definitely a hard collision for him, no doubt about it.
Well, I think we've had our first retiree, and I believe that is Quinn Gingrich in the 48.
Yes, I believe so. He had been involved in a couple incidents, unfortunately, and like I said, he is taking it behind the wall. Tough break for Mr. Gingrich right there, who was earlier on the race up front, up in that top 10, battling strong, but just found some of those incidents.
Riding on board the 24 of Nick Olson as he goes through the corner here. Wow, there was a lot of checkup in front of him, as you can see, just riding on board. A lot of cars. He gained on him in quite the hurry when that happened.
It's just that it looks like that typical kind of accordion effect we see, Michael, that happens here, and especially prevalent at Daytona 08 with everybody being so bumpy all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we're going to take this opportunity to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with the green flag here at Daytona.
Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCar. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and T. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you could only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engine.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCars. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Floyd, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and team. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you can only get in an Indy. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over.
And welcome back, everybody, here to the SARG Superspeedway Series in the Sunwest Construction 200 at Daytona 08 on the Flatout Racing Network. Tyler Reeves, Michael Norman with you here tonight. First race of the playoffs, race 9 of the 12 race season for the SARG Superspeedway Series. Coming off for third caution, we're back green here at lap 49 of 80, and it's Lucas Cram. He's been out front all day long. He is still holding it down up there in that bottom lane, that 44, Michael, and now got his teammate outside of him in that 5, and also you got Gavin Jones and Clint Spillman behind him trying to mix it up and maybe challenge Cram for that lead.
Yep, you can see on the outside lane going, Cram was not able to get the run he needed to get to the outside lane. Now his teammate's going to lead him out there, and just look at the run. Clint Spillman just pushing the back, and as you see the 44 just slide up in front of, I couldn't see who that was.
Right
Gavin Jones right there. He just slid up there, hoping to not fall back in. You know, when you see a hole, you got to put your car there.
Yeah, what a move by the 88 of Clint Spillman. Like you said, really be aggressive on pushing and getting hauling through that gap as well. The 29 Alex Fox following him. So new leader out in front, Dylan Hall in that 5, Clint Spillman in second, Alex Fox in third, and that Cram in fourth. And here's the real test, Michael, as we start going throughout the rest of this race now. You know, if you're a guy like Graham where you know you're fast up front, how do you get back up there? You know, what moves do you try to make knowing the top line's so dominant and you're not going to get some of these guys maybe to pull out with you?
You got to hope. You got to hope and pray. You know, you hope that you made the frames that you need to. If you see the inside lane start to go now, Lucas Cram, he could try to make it. He's got to stay in that middle lane. He's got to get the side draft. Side draft comes into play. Now he might be messed up here. He might be able to squeeze in line behind the 29 of Alex Fox, and I think he will. He's going to slide right up in front.
Yeah, he tried that solo run like you're talking about to really kind of see what he could do. You saw him wiggling a little bit, trying to get some of that side draft in it. It was a decent run to start, but he couldn't finish it.
If this was the current version of Daytona and not the old version, I feel like that move could have worked. But with it being at this track and this bumpy of a racing surface, that move wasn't going to work. As we now have a battle for the lead, here comes Clint Spillman to the inside, and I think he might be able to complete the pass.
He does. He saw what Cram was able to do with that big run. He said, all right, hey, let me try it out. And sure enough, gets the lead, but now it looks like Alex Fox at 29 may be paying for it as he tried to go with Spillman, and it's not going to work out quite as well. That 29 as he'll let Lucas Cram get by him and I have to slide back up in front of Gavin Jones.
Now Clint Spillman has his worst nightmare behind him, and that's 2 team cars, and one of them being Lucas Cram, a playoff driver. So we'll see how long Clint is able to hold the lead here before those 2 team cars make a move. Oh, and just as I say that,
here they go. Yes, sir. The 5 and the 44, big push right there by Mr. Cram. It looks like they're going to have plenty of space to clear, really taking advantage of that run. Big sweep, and back up they go, and the 5 back to the point now.
Yep, and we'll see if the 44 is content on running right there for the time being. Remember, these cars still will have to make a pit stop, and that caution coming out so early is not gonna. It did not play into any of their favors. Just look at these cars go below the yellow line back there, really fighting it up further on the back. I think that looked like the 24.
Might have been, yeah, you're right. Nick Olson back there making an aggressive move. He looks like he has finally used his fast repair, Michael, and is now trying to work his way up there. He's still a lap down, though, so he's trying to right now get past Ben McDonald, Brandon Half, Jacob McMillan, or excuse me, just Brandon Half,
yeah.
McDonald, those 2 guys. That's who he's trying to get past, make sure he's in front of them. As you see, they are on the outside, he's on the inside, trying to get that run, trying to keep it steady of him in case there's that caution flag.
Oh, the 24 is really side drafting off that 9. He was trying to. Couldn't quite get it there. If he can just get in front of Brandon Half and a caution come out, he will be in the catbird seat here. But where they're at in the pack here, just everyone's starting to kind of run single file now. You see them everyone's migrated to the outside lane, and this might be what this race is going to be between here and the pit stops, and you hate to see it, but at the same time, these drivers are just being really safe.
Yeah, it's definitely measured shots, right, Michael? I mean, to your point, everybody knows, okay, you're in a spot now where you're going to have to pit at least one more time, and with the way that caution broke, Michael, at 40, or getting back started about 48, you're probably looking at right about 70, maybe 71 or so, so not a lot of time to get in, get your pit stop, and then only a few laps go to the checkered, similar to what we saw in stage 1.
Yeah. So now, and the question also stands is this. Clint Spillman's in a good spot sitting there in third. He's got 2 team cars. Now, he's been following Lucas Cram for a while in this series, and you know that if Lucas makes the move, Clint, do you think Clint would go with them, or do you think he knows that the outside lane's more of speed, and you think he might try to leave Lucas out down there kind of out to dry?
Michael, that's a great point. I mean, we saw last week Brady Floyd made a fantastic move. One of the rare few times we've seen Lucas Cram outright get beat on a read, if you will, for a final lap move. So, I think Spillman may be able to pull something off like that here because there's still a lot of unknown, right? I mean, we know there's side draft is king. Some of these runs are huge. And for Cram himself, it's a different experience. You heard him talk about during the stage break when we interview him. It's a different way of having to try to fend off some of these guys behind him, and sometimes it's hard to read and react in the moment and make it successful.
Absolutely. We're having a bit of a breakaway up here at the front here. It looks like the front 4 kind of pulling away a little bit from the 12 of Gavin Jones, but we'll see how long that lasts for. And I'm surprised to see how patient Lucas Cram is. Usually we see him trying to battle for the lead, but this could also help him fuel-wise, because being behind a car, you can save more fuel than you can be leading the pack. So this could be a bit of a strategy on part of Lucas to stay in second place.
It probably a little bit of paying back Mr. Holland for doing a good job of pushing him during that first stage, I would imagine, as well. And, the other thing is there's really no pressure, Michael, for Lucas to outright win this race. He's the points leader coming in. He's got a decent bubble. It's not secure by any means, but as long as he runs top 3 like this, he's led plenty of laps, he won the stage. I think he kind of realizes he doesn't have to be the aggressor in this race.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can never take the racing spirit out of a driver either. So
Absolutely,
he's going to want to win.
Oh yeah, he'll have a trick up his sleeve, no doubt about it. As kind of checking through the field here, we're down to 18 cars on the lead lap, by the way, folks, out of the 27 that started. Officially, we got 3 behind the wall. We mentioned Quinn Gingrich, also got James DeCareless and Jordan Clark, a couple more that have unfortunately are done for the night. No, those guys playoff drivers, but still, nonetheless, you hate to see them go.
And honestly, that's actually kind of a decent night, for these drivers. They're showing just how clean this car can be, but it might also be just the drafting package these cars have. Yeah, they get one faster pair, but to only have 3 cars out, and we're 20 laps away from the finish of this race, that's saying something. So it's really good for a lot of these drivers for there to be only 3 cars out.
That's true, Michael. It's a difficult track, as we know, in Daytona 08. Very, very difficult. So it's a good point as far as, these guys have really done their studying up, if you will, of trying to figure out how to mind their P's and Q's and make sure that you can survive a race like this that's so tough. And Michael, it looks like we're seeing some of that same separation again that we saw in the first stage between the front pack and the pack behind. As you go back to about 13th, there's a good gap between Matthew Oliveira in 12th and the 8th of Michael Elliott, and a couple guys behind him. You got Robbie Lyons of note in there. You've also got Jake McMillan, playoff driver, down here in there. And that is interesting because, as we saw in the first stage with those pit stops, it really, you do not want to be this far back behind that lead pack because it's going to be almost impossible to make up that time.
Yeah, absolutely. Watching these cars go just single file down the back straight away. I know most NASCAR fans dislike this train style racing, but unfortunately, it all comes down to the drafting package, and with there being less bumps on the outside lane, It's just for this Daytona track. Unfortunately, it's just got to be the way it is for right now. At least as we're approaching the next round of pit stops, which I think will be in about the next 5 laps.
Yeah, we're approaching that window here very quickly as these guys have kept it tame in the second stage so far for the most part, outside of that wreck towards the back. And man, Michael, if this stays green, you know, guys like Brandon Half and Nick Olson are just going to be, they're hoping that there's some trouble that arises eventually. They've got to get a wave around, be able to get back on the lead lap and really contend to get some solid, much-needed points, kind of keep themselves there with, Lucas on the way.
Well, look how many drivers are in the top 10 right now that are playoff drivers. You've got 7, I believe. No, 6. You've got 6 drivers in the top 10 right now that are currently playoff drivers. Lucas Cram, Clint Spillman, Gavin Jones, Brady Floyd, Lucas Strayer, and Kyle Manger, who pitted later than everybody in the first half, and here he is in 9th position over here. Robbie Lyons back in 13th, Jacob McMillan in 15th, Brandon Half, the first car 1 lap down right now, in the 19th position. Nick Olson in 21st, who is 1 lap down as well, and Stephen Gale 2 laps down in 24th.
Right down there of all the playoff drivers for you. As we mentioned, to look for those blue banners, folks. You'll notice the playoff drivers have a different blue banner compared to the rest of the cars. That's kind of your signal if you're not quite sure who all is a playoff driver. And getting closer to about 16, 17 laps to go here. Getting on lap 64, coming to 65 this time by. And Michael, you know, if you're any of these guys up front here, and you've got that pit stop coming, and you're coming down with the rest of the group, what's your strategy? You're taking tires, you're taking no tires. I believe during the first stage, mostly everybody seemed to either only take 2 tires or none, as they were in and out of their stops pretty quick.
Depends on how much fuel you need to make it to the end. If you need a full tank of gas to make it to the end, you're looking at maybe putting on 4 tires. If you're thinking about taking, if you need like a can to a can and a half, you're thinking 2 tires, because at least then you'll have something. But if you're just taking like a splash and go or just something small like that, then you're not taking any. That's how I kind of see it, and that's how I would be as a crew chief.
Fair point, Michael. Fair point. And an update on that gap. Oh, Michael is really blown wide open now. It has gone to 7 seconds between Rob. Oh, and we got a wreck in that second group. Somebody just got it flipped on their roof back there. Caution is out. 4th caution of the day.
I think that was Brett Murphy.
It was Brett Murphy involved with Michael Elliott. Elliott is the one that went flying. He is on his roof right now towards the inside wall. Wow, what a wreck back there between Murphy and Elliott. We're not sure who else maybe got involved. Elliott was the last car on the lead lap, and now he has had to tow it. That was unfortunate. Murphy was a lap down, running 23rd.
Yeah, we're going to have to look back here to see what happened. Oh, someone hard into the wall. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, the 8 back there got flung hard. It was Murphy hard off the wall, and he just Beybladed into the 8 and flung him. That is one of the craziest things I have seen in some time.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I mean, just
we're going to look at Brett Murphy's. Yeah, we're going to look at Brett Murphy here and see what happened to him. That got him into the wall. But that was something.
Like just some bad contact right there.
Yeah, something happened. Somebody came down. I don't know who that was. I don't know if it was they were just arguing over the same piece of real estate or what.
The 84 of Jacob Locklear was the one that
from the helicopter cam here. Yeah, he just came down like he was trying to get in line, and he just wasn't clear, and he turned Brett up into the wall.
Wow! And just take a ride if you can, Michael, with that 8, and see how he just got stuntmanned into flipping that car. That was wild. Got ricocheted off the 64.
Gonna go ahead and ride on board with the 8 machine, as you said, and let's take a look. See, as we're coming off the corner here, right there, just gets hooked in the wall, tries to avoid it, and just wow. This is not something you see every day.
Wild ride for sure. As we mentioned, fourth caution of the day on lap 64. And now Michael sets up the spot where everybody gets to bring it that pit road, get their fuel, get their tires, and it is going to be a mad dash to the end of this one. It looks like the wave around car might have been Brandon House, so we're going to have to keep an eye on who the lucky dog was there. That could be huge as well, considering obviously you got Half and Olsen one lap down. Obviously, we mentioned Gale struggles throughout today. It's looking very slim for him to maybe get back onto that lead lap.
Well, we got a new race leader. Alex Fox in the 29 car is the first off pit road. So we're going to have roughly just over 10 laps to go on this restart. But we're going to go ahead and take our last quick commercial break here and be right back with the green flag here at the Daytona International Speedway.
Welcome, race fans. This is Paul Page, the voice of IndyCar. And today we're excited to present another IndyCar event brought to you by the Dark Horse IndyCar Series. From the Unzers to Mears, Foyt, and Andretti, now it's Corley, Peterson, Davies, Gardner, and Team. You can expect high speeds, incredible wheel-to-wheel action, and intense drama that you could only get in an IndyCar. So sit back and enjoy your favorite drivers from all over the world take the track. Dark Horse IndyCar drivers, start your engine.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
And welcome back, everybody, to the SARG Superspeedway series on the Flatout Racing Network in the, in the Sunwest Construction 200 at Daytona. And Michael Dorvan, Tyler Riggs with you here tonight on this one. We're working our fourth caution of the day, coming off that, getting ready to go green here, coming to lap 69 out of 80, Michael, and you know, up in second. You mentioned before the break there, new leader Alex Fox, but look at that outside row. The 88 Clint Spimble, the 44 Cram. This is about to get interesting. Green flag is back there. A huge jump by that 29 of Alex Fox. That may be too much right there, Michael.
It might be, but he's able to get to the outside lane. And with the cars side by side behind him, that's just going to kind of stall out the outside lane if he chooses to stay there, because the inside lane just doesn't have anybody right now to push. Here comes some help now, but he's just gonna get, well, maybe not. I thought he was gonna get freight train, but Clint had a little bit of patience and stays right behind him. So we'll see how long he stays there, because we know Lucas Cram will be able to make the move, and he'll make it pretty quickly, as we only have 12 laps to go.
12 to go, like you said. A couple of these playoff drivers all of a sudden have appeared up there beside Spillman and Cram. You got Kyle Major, you got Brady Foy, Lucas Strayer, all up in the top 7 now, trying to get some of those points, Michael. And it's about to get real hectic. We're not going to see any of that, rim riding around the top lane right now. It looks like that inside's trying to form a little bit. But they're going to
someone was in the wall back there. Somebody scraped the wall a little bit in the back. I think that might have been the 21.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, we got a wreck. It's underneath the apron. I don't think the caution will come out for that. But here he comes, Lucas Cram to the inside, and Alex is going to throw the block, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Lucas all by himself on the inside line now. Is it going to be enough? Oh, what a slide job in front of the leader. And they're going to leave him out to dry again.
The crisscross coming back at it. The action here, Michael Lake said the slide jobs at Daytona. Who would have thought?
Oh
look
my
at the-
goodness, they're sliding like it's the last lap. Guys, we only have 10 laps to go.
2 by 2 now. They're sliding back there as well. You got Dagger and some of those guys. Kobe Wells, but loose. Oh, Derek.
Oh, there's
Bailey
another back there, and it's a bigger one, and this one's going to bring out the caution.
Still no caution yet, but there is cars wrecking all over the place back there. Still no caution. Oh,
And
my.
it's under the racing surface. I don't know if they will throw the caution for that. Kyle Manger, who was just up here now, I'm not sure if he was one of the ones that, if he was the one that got spun on the back straightaway.
There's the caution.
There's the caution now.
Took a while. That was a race official caution there. Not an iRacing caution, but yeah, that was a big one. I see the 04 Britt Baldeck back there in it. I mean, there is a lot of cars now, Michael, and it started. It looks like everybody was pretty loose, just, I mean, coming around right there.
Well, we did kind of predict that this was going to happen. Gonna kind of go back and we're gonna go back and look, as I believe Kyle Manger was the one that got spun on the back straightaway there. Yes, it was. So we're gonna look at his incident first here. It looks like he had a team car behind him. We're gonna look at it right here. It's right there. He got turned by the 5, just a bad timed bump. He did a 360 and kept the car straight, and they kept going. So that's why they didn't throw the caution for that one. And then a little bit further ahead, we're gonna take a look here. There was another wreck.
Looked like the 26 and the 52, Michael Stanley and Gale getting together, going off into turn 1, kind of mid-pack, to the back of that front pack right there.
I'm gonna take a look at it right here. Yep, right there. And they didn't really fully wreck. One car, 2 of them in, and then 1 car slid up onto the track.
Whew.
For this back here, it looked like not a lot of the cars got involved back here. And
yeah, there's some banged up cars in that for sure.
yeah, definitely. So it's definitely some banged up cars. Well, we have a caution. It's our 5th one of the night. We've got Alex Fox leading, Clint Spillman in 2nd, Lucas Cram 3rd, Dylan Holland in 4th, Brady Floyd in 5th, if I could stop trying to talk so fast. And a couple of playoff drivers here, but man, we weren't even with 5 to go and they were racing like that.
Yeah, well, guys started to get slidey, Michael, and we started to see some checkups and some excellent crossovers as well. This is going to be kind of a wild finish, if that's what we're in store for, folks. I mean, we were questioning how you're going to make some of these moves, but it looks like that's kind of the playbook, is really dive down, Michael, get a big run coming off the corner and try to, maybe use some of that side draft. Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yeah, that's what we saw down there when Lucas tried to throw the block off of turn 4 there. When they did the crossover to the inside, they're trying to leave him out to dry. You saw that with the crossover there with Alex Fox. He came down. They touched. They were just trying to get the side job, but they got together and touched and somehow kept it straight. That was intense. I mean, it's not even the end of the race, and I'm pretty much out of breath. We should be getting the 1 to go signal this time by, which should give us about 6 laps to go on the restart, and things are only going to get more hectic.
Yeah, hold on to those seats, folks, because it's going to get real spicy here real quick. I mean, these guys are putting it on the line. You mentioned you got Spillman, you got Floyd now up in the top 5, you got Robbie Lyons in the top 10 and 6, Lucas Strayer, Gavin Jones, all playoff drivers, all in the top 10. Lucas Cram, of course, as well. Trying to get that big win, trying to get that big finish, and make sure that they position themselves in a spot to try to contend for this championship.
Absolutely. They're going to be going back green flag racing this time by. 6 laps to go. Well, the 5 and the 44 pretty much switched lanes for this restart, so we'll see if Clint Spillman can actually time the restart a little bit better this time.
Yeah, and the 29, Fox obviously still in the lead. Probably going to choose that inside like you did, but does he get as big of a jump, do you think, Michael? Does he, how do you work that if you're Alex Fox? Saw what happened. It looked like it worked out for him pretty well, taking that big leap like he did on that last restart.
Yeah, and I wonder if it worked out last time for the short run at least. The only question is if it'll work out better again.
We'll see. Spillman's maybe more prepared for that as well. And Michael, I mean, within this top 10, who are you kind of watching on this restart? It's maybe not Cram or Spillman. Is there anybody else you got your eye on to kind of make some moves, maybe?
I want to actually say maybe we're going to see Dylan Holland. He's been a heck of a pusher, and pusher from the first half, leader in the second. So I feel like he could, if not for the other two, he could come up here and possibly steal this win away.
Yeah, it's a fair guess. I'm kind of watching that 20 of Brady Floyd, last week's winner going into the playoffs. He was maybe the most unhappy winner we've ever had in terms of how he sounded. He did feel like he earned that one, but, he's trying to get some big momentum here. He can make some moves. Let's see how it goes. It's going to be that 29 of Alex Fox on the inside earlier. The 80 is Spillman. Pace car is off. Restart. Green flag is in the air. We're coming to 6 to go right here. A little bit of a move there from the 29. Let's see how they review that. That's going to be interesting. But staying green still. 29 of Fox way out in front like it was last time, Michael. When is he going to pull up? Let's see how he handles this.
We'll see right now. The outside lane's already getting the run. You're going to see him pull to the outside lane now. The question will remain, maybe not. He's going to stay to the inside, and they're going to try to get the run going on the outside here. This could put Clint Spillman in the lead, and it will with Brady Floyd right behind him. Look at Lucas Cram decide to go to the middle.
Trying to make that side draft all it's worth. He's got the 15 of Robbie Line coming up behind him as well. Try to get some help there. It is a tight 3 wide and a black flag for Alex Fox, and I thought that was coming, Michael, because he changed lanes very early trying to get that big jump. So that is huge. 29 now going to have to serve a penalty. That puts this in the hands of Clint Spillman. And that 20 of Brady Floyd talked about him. He's up there.
Well, I guess you can't really call it a rookie mistake, but it very well might be. We've seen moves like that ruin somebody's race before, and unfortunately for Alex, he's gonna have to serve that penalty before the end of the race. And as you can see, the front here getting really really crazy here. The 20's got to watch out. The cars behind him specifically are not going to wait very long before they make their move.
No, and he's got some grit guys, thankfully, behind him outside of Brady Floyd. Obviously, Floyd not a grit guy, Michael, so you think Spillman's kind of trusting that maybe Holland and, one of those guys want to push one more time here, get him across the finish line?
Well, they say you have friends, but in the last lap, everything goes, and, they're not your friends no more. So we're going to wait and see as they are on the inside lane now. I thought that was the 5 and third, but that's actually the 9. I looked at it again. That's actually the 9 in... No, it is the 5. Sorry, that's the 9 on the inside. I was right the first time. I was right the first time. The 9 on the inside lane here. Brandon Houff, he is on the lead lap. Remember, we talked about him coming back from the lead lap, or from laps down to be in contention. Now the 88's really got to focus on blocking both lanes. And here comes the 9 on the inside being pushed by the 44. The outside lane doesn't have a lot of run here as they kind of got broken up there. So we're going to see the 9 of Brandon Houff take the lead. And now is when we saw the inside lane start to come into play with 3 laps to go.
And it was a massive push by that 44 of Lucas Graham. Had a good train behind him with Robbie Lyons at 15 up there now. 25 of Kyle Banger's up there. They're still sliding around as those guys...
88 to the wall.
Big slap. Yeah, they're trying to figure it out. Big checkups. No wrecks, though. And 3 wide. And this is what Brandon Houff and that group up front loves to see. They're trying to pull away.
And there goes Lucas. As you said, you're not your friends no more. Lucas pushes them to the front and then takes the lead on the inside.
Coming to 3 to go this time.
2 to go. You're right.
This time I trust myself there. Cram has wormed his way back up to the front.
Robbie Lyons almost got turned there. He got real sideways. Now the outside lane's coming into play. Will the 25 stay with him? He's got no choice now. Robbie Lyons to the outside, doesn't have a lot of help, but here comes that 04, and not too long ago was involved in a wreck, and here he is up here now trying to battle it out for the win, but it's going to be Robbie Lyons and Kyle Menger trying to take over first and second.
And what a race this is. Gavin Jones back there at 12 getting a little bit of a bump. He's having to slide back, and it is a battle, Michael. Looks kind of like more of an old school clash going on with some of these runs. Coming to the white flag, this race is not going to go green-white checkered. we're going to finish from this point on. It's Robbie Lyons in control. Can he get race win number 2 of the season? Oh, Cram. Oh, that's 5 of Dylan Holland wrecks. They're all sply back in turn 1. Wipes out half the field.
They're going out in the back here. I'm trying to find it. There to go. Big wrecks back here, but the focus is on the front right now. Robbie Lyons has the lead. He's got a couple of teammates right behind him. When will they make the move? And the 9 car is not close enough to really give a lot of help here. Now the 9's going to go to the inside. Here comes Gavin Jones up here. The 15's got to go to the inside to block him. And there he goes. He's trying to block the middle lane.
He might have it, Michael. He's got the run. There's nobody that can catch him.
He's going to have it. He's going to have it now. Robbie Lyons wins at Daytona.
In the Sunwest Construction 200, what a victory for Robbie Lyons. Played it perfect right there at the end, Michael. And as you mentioned, Brandon Houff just didn't have enough from the push of Gavin Jones in that 12. What a finish. Lucas Cram winds up getting shuffled back all the way to 6th in that chaos. And my, oh my, what a race 1 of the playoffs here in the SARG Superspeedway Series.
Absolutely. That was incredible. I mean, it was absolutely great to see. I'm out of breath right now. That was an incredible run to the finish. I'm so glad we made it to the white flag. And congratulations once again to Robbie Lyons.
5 of the 6 drivers that finished in the top 6 were playoff drivers. Lyons, Houff in 2nd, Gavin Jones in 3rd, Kyle Manger in 4th. The low non-playoff driver, Matthew Oliveira. He was damaged most of the race, Michael. Saved that fast repair. He gets himself a top 5. And then, as I mentioned, Lucas Cram at 6. You mentioned the 04 Brett Baldeck. I mean, hardly mentioned his name. Started 25th. He'll finish 7th. Christopher Lewis in the 95 recovers from earlier issues. He finishes 8th. Brady Floyd, their playoff driver, finishes 9th. And at 20 got shuffled out kind of at the end there. And Lucas Strayer as well in that 41 will round out your top 10. And Robbie Lyons is burning it down here at Daytona 08, joining Nick Olson as the only other multi-winner on the season here in the SARG Superspeedway Series. Michael, his last one 2 races ago at Daytona, that was his first win, and so soon he gets his second here in SARG. You love to see it.
Absolutely, yeah, that was incredible. As we're entering our post-race wind down, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get ready to talk to the top 3 here, and we'll see if we can see if they're ready. We can pull them in here right now, starting with 3rd place finisher Gavin Jones.
Hey, Gavin, it's Tyler Michael up here in the booth. You got us.
Yep, got a copy.
Well, my goodness, man. I mean, you were kind of all over the place today. We saw you kind of riding around in the back to start things. You found your way up there towards the end of some of the stages, and eventually, you were a contender there coming down to the end of things. How'd that kind of play out for you? What was there a move that you were trying to hit that you just couldn't hit right there? We saw you trying to give Brandon Houff that big last push. It just didn't quite work out.
Yeah, on that last lap, I definitely wanted to get Brandon up there. He had a pretty amazing comeback coming back from over 2 laps down, and fought his way back. I can't believe he got second. But yeah, we were trying to link up and try to go for the win, coming off. Actually go down the backstretch and then coming off 4. But we didn't have enough of a run. But we got pretty close, 2nd and 3rd. I can't complain with that. Man, this new draft model is so different from what we used to race on the weekly basis.
Take us through that last lap by itself. Like, how much was your heart racing, and just how just pumped up and on the wheel, edge of your seat were you?
Yeah, just after taking the white flag, I thought I was going to get turned there coming out of the trial, but I was able to keep it straight, and I'm glad Cram was able to keep it straight as well. Oh man, if we just got the run a little bit sooner, we could have gotten that win.
Well, and Gavin, speaking on the changes and just the week-to-week changes all throughout the race, it seemed like a lot of guys were just trying to, figure out what worked and what didn't here at Daytona 08. How was your process throughout this race of, testing some of those moves? Was there really time for you to do that, or was it just kind of all there at the end?
It was pretty much midway through the race. We knew which line was the fastest, and that was the high line. You could get runs and then dive low, but just like real life, as soon as you go low and pass a car, you got to get right back up. And if there's there's no spot to fall back in line, well, you're going to the back.
Absolutely, Gavin. Well, hey, at this time, we'll turn back over to you. Let you do your shouts. Big third place finish here to start the playoffs for you.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to give a shout out to my parents. I know they're watching back at their place. I'll also give a shout out to my girlfriend. I was actually on the phone with her for the first 18 laps. So maybe
Wow.
that was a little bit of good luck there. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I'll make that a ritual or something.
That's great stuff. That is great stuff, Gavin. Congrats on that third place. And maybe we'll talk to you next week.
All right, I'll be looking forward to it. Thank you, guys.
Third place finisher there, Gavin Jones. Let's bring in second place himself, Brandon Half. Came back, as Gavin there mentioned, from 2 laps down, Michael? Craziness.
Absolutely.
Hey, Brandon, it's Tyler and Michael up here in the booth. You got us.
I do, loud and clear.
Man, you sound a little bit tired after that one. I mean, you were 2 laps down at one point. You were struggling with some connection issues that got you that first lap down. I mean, how'd you make that comeback in this race?
I wish I had an answer. I honestly don't know. I was saying after the race, I'm like, I have absolutely no idea how I finished second, but I'll take it. I mean, I hate I didn't get any stage points. Hate I didn't lead a lap. Hate I didn't win the pole. 3 things I've done a lot this season, but I got to work on trying to fix my connection issues. They've been plaguing me for a while now, about the last month or 2. But anyway, yeah, that was a crazy race. I was saying I didn't want to really take any prisoners the whole race after going a lap down and then 2 laps down. I had damage early on from that first wreck, and then after that, I was really playing catch up. So it's this package and this track. This is it's a very interesting combo. Riding that high line single file, it's one of the toughest things I think I've ever done on Superspeedway racing. Having to lift and the huge runs you get, and really not being able to go anywhere with them. And if you go to the bottom, you're screwed. So, man, I'm worn out, but I will definitely take a second for the way this race went for me.
Yeah, it was incredible to watch. Honestly, we were calling it up here, and I thought you were still a lap down, but then I looked at the standings again, and I saw that you were on the lead lap. I said, "Oh my, here comes Brandon Houff, right up here, on the inside lane with his teammates." Just how, when that last caution came out, how just excited were you to know that you were going to be back on the lead lap?
Yeah, I mean, the second to last, or whichever caution I got the lucky dog on, I knew once I got back on the lead lap, I was just, going to go for it. I know I was restarting like 18th or 17th, but I wasn't lifting for anybody really. I mean, I know I got teammates in the race. I know I got buddies in the race, but I even told everybody I was talking to, I said, I'm not taking any prisoners. I'm going for myself, because I knew I needed to win for the lack of stage points I had, and really not leading anything today. So, yeah, I was ecstatic. I mean, I couldn't believe it, honestly. I held the lucky dog spot for a good 10, 15 laps. I was just praying for a caution, and I got it. And then that last caution when I was 12th, I was just hoping the outside lane would go and I can stay where I was. And hopefully it would have led me to, hopefully the top 5. Not expecting to get back to second at all. Honestly, I would have taken a top 10 with the way this race went. But once Alex got that black flag, and, I saw Lucas and I think it was Robbie on the inside, I got that run on the outside to get to 6th, and then I saw them coming on the bottom. And I knew it was my only chance really to get to the lead. And, I got there, and, unfortunately with that move with 3 to go, I lost the lead. And I still only fell back to like 4th, but, that last lap was insane. I was trying to get Gavin to push me, and, it worked for a little bit. Just couldn't get enough run to get to Robbie. But, yeah, I have to say, it was very fun. I don't know. I don't know if I want to say I'd do that again at this track, because that was very intense, but definitely an experience, but I will definitely exciting. That's for sure.
Yeah. One final question, Brandon, on just kind of working through the newer package. How much harder it is really to kind of fight your way through the field, especially at a track like this?
Yeah, it is. When I say it's 100% harder and 100% different than, it was, you probably can multiply that by like 10. It is incredibly difficult. On the restarts, it's not as bad because, you kind of have an even line with the top and bottom. And as long as you can, go with the right line, you'll at least move up. But once you get that single file line on the top, it is so dominant. And I didn't see it coming in practice. I didn't run a lot of practice. I ran a few laps, but I ran enough just to get used to it, and hopefully, that would have helped me in the race. But man, once we started running that top line all the way through the field, it was so difficult to go on the bottom. I think we saw Nick go on the bottom a couple times, by himself in the back, and he just couldn't do anything. He just kept falling back. I knew I was content just riding on the top for the time being, and it's really 100% different than what we used to do. You guys were used to watching us side by side, sometimes 3 wide, maybe a couple rows deep. Now it's like, we got to stay single file, and if anybody wants to make a move, you need at least 3-4 cars to do anything, and you got to hope that top lane has only like 1 or 2 guys to make a move. But man, it's fun. It's difficult. I like being challenged like this, but it definitely takes a toll on your brain and your physical shape, and especially with the runs, and you gotta judge them right. It's really more of a mental game now, and it's really you gotta plan your moves versus what we used to do when you just used to take the runs as they come, and you never really lost much track position. But now you make a move and you duck out of line, and you're going back 10 spots or so. But yeah, definitely different, definitely fun. I'm looking forward to Dega next week. It'll be our third race on the package, second at Dega. So definitely more experience, and yeah, I'm gonna hope to land 1 spot better.
Absolutely. And of course, at this time, Brendan, any shout outs you need to do, people you need to thank on the second place finish?
I just want to shout out Kligerman Sport, all my teammates, Lucas, Robbie, Nick, Kyle, really everybody I work with, everybody I worked with tonight. You guys are putting on the great broadcast as usual. I think this is I don't know, this might be my first post-race interview of the season. I'm not sure.
It might be. We'd have to go back and check on that.
I know. Yeah, I think my best finish was 3rd or at 4th. I don't even know. But yeah, it's good to finish on the podium again. Hoping, like I said, to get 1 spot better. But I'm looking forward to it. I think we'll be in for a treat next week.
Absolutely, Brandon. Well, once again, congrats on the second place finish. And yeah, like I said, maybe we'll be talking to you next week.
Yep. I hope so. Thank you.
Second place finish right there, Brandon Hoffman. Let's bring in the man of the hour, joining Nick Olson as the only other multi-time winner this season, Mr. Robbie Lyons himself. Robbie, Tyler, Michael up here in the booth. You got us.
I got you guys.
Man, I mean, how about that race? You were one of those guys that we were kind of tracking back there that had been banged up, had been a lap down, involved in some of those incidents. You find yourself in a spot to get it done at the end of the race, and boy, did you capitalize.
Yeah, man, I was thinking the same thing. It's not often we see a wreck as big as we had so early in the race. And, this package last week was our first time going with it. And, a few times we saw some people get lined up top, but nothing quite like we did tonight. And I had actually texted Nick Olson earlier tonight, and I said I knew that the race was going to be like it was in Highline Dominant. And just because this is so, they've hit the nail on the head when it comes to realism. And being that, with the bumps and how worn out this track is, it's just, and even in real life, you saw back in the day as the track aged and the bumps got worse, that it was largely moving up to the high line as it would at any 1.5-mile track like Homestead and Atlanta. It kind of becomes that, and the high line's where the momentum is, and you got to make your moves early and often to climb your way up there. But if you have enough cars on the bottom that know what they're doing, back themselves up to the car behind them to get that push, since it's not just driving up and shoving a guy anymore. Like, the guy in front of you has to be proactively on and off his brake to stay on you. And we had enough cars there on the bottom at the end to move up, and I saw my opportunity there behind Lucas to get up top, and I had a run, but wasn't help out back, and it all worked out.
Yeah, man, that was a crazy last couple of laps there on that restart. Did you think you were gonna be able to get up there? You had the Clint Spillman and others in front of you, man. Just talk about that wild restart from the restart to the finish there.
Yeah, so I told a few of the guys in our SARG chat, you know, they were all complaining about getting up and wanting to restart on the outside, and I said I ain't planning on staying on the high side. You know, we got to make moves on the bottom if we're going to win the race, and I think it actually helped that Lucas was not restarting on the outside that time, and you know, that gave us some good cars on the bottom. And I was talking to Manger in the waiting room there, and everybody in that bottom line had kind of gotten to the point where they had it figured out, and we just got enough cars to build enough momentum to where we were able to surge back up there. And I think I remember Clint throwing a block on Lucas, and it wasn't really a committed block. Like he kind of swerved down and back up, and it more so killed the outside when he moved back up, and just brought us back up there. It's there's always cause and effect stuff, especially in plate racing or draft racing, I guess, since Cup cars don't have plates anymore. But you know, the guys that had it figured out there at the end definitely made their way up to the front. And I know Manger got spun at one point previously. You know, I was in that wreck. Nick Olson was in that wreck, and Brandon came from 2 laps down. So you can pass with this package if you figure it out. And I think we all showed that there at the end. And I was, you know, I just was lucky to find myself in the position I was there. You know, 2 or 3 to go, and I lost it last week. You know, timing my move a little too early, and I think I pulled it off at the right time this week and managed the guys behind me. You know, didn't let them get too far back from me and or too close. It's a balance, man. It's a dance with your feet on the pedals. You know, you're trying to. I wasn't looking out the windshield the entire time, just constantly looking at the guys behind you and trying to, you know, keep them in that safe distance.
Absolutely, Robbie. And, you know, we talked about a little bit there at the end before you got in here, but you go from going so long without a win at SARG. Now you ripped off 2 in 3 weeks. Like you said, you had a shot at maybe 3 in the row. I mean, do you really feel like you're starting to kind of come around here and maybe truly put yourself a name in the contender's hat, if you will, for this championship?
I do, man. And you know, when I got my first one, it was with before the update, so I feel more vindicated with that win. Obviously, that was the one that got the monkey off my back. Um, Finally broke through, and but now I truly feel like this update and this aero package really lends itself to the experience that I've had in real life. I think I've run around 6 plate races at Daytona and Talladega, and I can't say enough about how close iRacing has gotten it to the real thing. So, you know, at the end, just I guess it's experience just coming to the front. I hate to pat myself on the back or toot my own horn, but
Go
you know,
ahead, do it. It's post-race, do it.
things that I've learned in real life, you know, I've run way too many laps than I have ever wanted to up against the outside wall in a freight train. Like all last spring, I had to do it, and it's not easy and it's not really fun. But I've watched people like how they made moves in those situations and watched videotape, and for the first time ever in my time on iRacing, you know, all those real factors finally come into play in iRacing. So just taking advantage of it when I can, and obviously you can't do it by yourself. So I know Lucas has been watching tape from real life, and he has it figured out too. And you know, we found ourselves together last week and this week. So you know, the guys just got to put in the work and learn. And I think everybody is learning. Only the second time with it. So you know, when we go into next week, I think we'll have more, and eventually it'll balance itself out, and we'll see 3x3 racing and a lot of lead changes for sure.
Absolutely, Robbie. Of course, this time, do your shots. Thank you, you need to thank for this fantastic win.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Obviously, everybody at iRacing were just an amazing job they've done, and I don't doubt Dale Jr. himself had some input in this and bringing the realism just a little bit closer. I got to thank everybody at Kligerman Sport, Kyle Dager, Parker Kligerman, Nick Olson, my teammates, you know, Brandon Houff, Lucas Cram, Dylan Allen. We all made up some ground there, and we're always good at working together. And then Sunwest Construction, my primary sponsor, They've always been with me from the start, my real life career, and obviously my online career. So just and all you guys that do these awesome broadcasts every week, I appreciate you.
All right, Mr. Lyons. Well, congrats on the win again, and maybe we'll catch you next week and continue to see how you try to climb and fight into this championship battle.
Yeah, looking forward to it, and look out, Richard Petty, and come for them 200 wins.
Yes, sir.
See you guys. Have a good night.
That was our winner, Robbie Lyons, on the night here in the Sunwest Construction 200. What a race, Michael, as we finish wrapping this one up. Can't wait to see how that affects those point standings going forward, especially Lucas racking up a good amount of bonus points this race. Ultimately, though, probably not getting the finish he wanted. I think it's going to be wide open heading into Talladega next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait for that, and it's going to be a fun race. And I've had fun tonight, Tyler. And as always, it was fun being up here with you. And I can't wait for next week.
Yes, sir. We got our second race under the SNU package at Talladega. That will be the 75 laps at Talladega next week. Of course, same time here at about 9 Eastern time here on the Flatout Racing Network. And Michael, tell good folks what we got coming up next for you here on the Flatout Racing Network before we sign off as well.
It's going to be the Talladega Challenge again tomorrow night. So tune in for that. See the Rolling Thunder guys, RTG guys and gals go around the racetrack, Talladega style, and it's going to be exciting.
Absolutely. Going to put a good show on for sure. Well, for everybody here in the SARG Superspeedway Racing Series, for myself, Tyler Riggs, for everybody at Flatout Racing Network, Michael, of course, once again, excellent job on the production side, sir, doing all the great work with the camera angles. Can't thank you enough for that, obviously. And, of course, shout out once again to Sunwest Construction for picking up the sponsorship of this race. Every race sponsored in SARG comes with a $10 race winner. So Robbie Lyons right there picking up $10 for that great win. And as we mentioned, folks, next week will be round 2 of the chase here in the SARG Superspeedway Series, race 10 of 12 at Talladega Superspeedway for 75 intense laps. But until then, we want to thank you all for tuning in, and always go check out the amazing series here at SARG and all the rest that we carry on the Flatout Racing Network on YouTube anytime you want to catch up on some fantastic racing. But everybody else out there, have a fantastic night. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you next week.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.